my history with the organization goes back to 1970. In 1969, I was very much interested in trying in WOW to help some of the wounded people, the displaced and so on, and I was able to give them support. And this continued until 1970, 71. And at that time, there was no WFP, there was no UNICEF, there was nothing except the League of the Red Cross. As a humanitarian organization, we did not pick up arms, we did not pick up anything. We just were involved with ICRC, how to help the people that had been affected by war, and also health situation, and also to people that are around in the town, at least they have clean water and that there is food.
After the declaration of the results of the referendum, which was very clear that the population in South Sudan had decided to vote for a separate country from the north, the national society started to put a committee in place, and this committee comprised members from headquarters, 2 members from the headquarters. That is the Director of International Cooperation, Mr. Abubakar, and we had Imad Abdurrahim, the Director of Programs, representing the headquarters. And then from the south, it was myself, and we had, of course, from the other movement partners, from the ICRC, we had 2 representatives, that is the Cooperation Coordinator at ICRC based in Khartoum, and then the Cooperation Delegate based, working for ICRC based in Juba. And then, of course, we had the head of delegation of the International Federation of the Red Cross and Red Crescent for the Sudan delegation. So this was the technical committee which was put in place to oversee the process of the transformation of the new national society into 2 different societies. One was, of course, the issue related to assets, the national society, the issues related to contracts, the issues related to legal base, the issues related to how we should have this dialogue with the government in South Sudan and all the other stakeholders involved, and also the issue of when officially the new national society would start to use the logo that it will choose from among the 3 different logos that are in use with the movement partners. So these were the core issues that were being handled by the different, by the technical committee formed by the movement. I think the benefit was that, first of all, the technical committee was able to calm down the expected tensions that would come as a result of this separation between the north and the south. Number 2, also to reassure both the members of the Sudanese Red Crescent, both in the north and the south, that this is a natural process that has happened in other countries, and therefore it is not a new situation as far as the movement is concerned. But what needs to be done is that this has to be handled in a very polite and diplomatic process. So I think since the institution of this committee and up to now, the whole process has been going very smoothly, and there has been no any hiccups within the national society itself. Once there are indicators, for example, in a country that there's going to be a split, our best advice is that actually the process of dialogue within the national society and all the stakeholders, ICRC, Federation, different government authorities involved, should we start as earlier as possible so that people are psychologically prepared for whatever is going to happen. And we think that should be very, very important, that any country that will face the same similar situation that we have is that they have to study this as a very good model for the separation of splitting up of one national society into two national societies or even more. Our recommendation is that when such a situation occurs, number one, first of all, they should accept the reality of the situation. Number two, they should approach the problem in a pragmatic way. And number three, they should engage the movement partners, particularly the ICRC, the Federation, the PNS, and then also their governments and all stakeholders involved, so that people are kept informed and aware of what is going on. Because if you don't involve the stakeholders, you don't inform the government, you don't inform the population, then here people will not be able to follow what is going on. But once people are kept informed, then for sure you'll get a lot of support and a lot of backing from the different stakeholders that you are working with. So our advice is that the whole process must be done in a transparent manner. And if you do it in a transparent manner, of course, at the end of the day, you will reap the benefits of the whole process. I think for us, although we started after the referendum, I consider that was a bit late. Nevertheless, we have been able, I think, to work quite well within the short time frame to prepare both volunteers and staff mentally to accept the new reality of the situation that we are now in. There were sessions held by the volunteers, members of the board, the government, the staff, explaining to them about the change process that is ongoing within the national society. And that's why both in the north and in the south, everybody was prepared. And we have been, despite the political divide, we have been able to support each other in this process of separation. Our vision is that, number one, we would like to be recognized by the authorities and the population in South Sudan as the first, as a national society of first choice for the people of South Sudan and the government in service delivery to our population. Of course, there are a lot of national organizations, but we would like to be the organization of first choice for the people of South Sudan. Our priorities, number one is, of course, we would like to put a strategy in place. Number two, we'll have to put policies in place. Number three, we'd like to improve our working environment, infrastructure. Number four, we also will do a lot of fundraising in order to mobilize our resources, both internally and externally, to be able to continue with our Red Cross work to support especially hundreds and thousands of returnees that are still in the north and those that are still in the neighboring countries that will be coming back after the declaration of independence for the Republic of South Sudan. South Sudan is emerging from almost more than 40 years of conflict. Most of our infrastructure has been ruined. People, of course, have a lot of expectations, not only from the government, but from the emerging new national society in terms of service delivery. And we are therefore appealing to our partners, the International Federation, the ICRC, the partners, and even other stakeholders outside the movement to be able to support us when we have a call so that we can be able to deliver services to our people. Because the Red Cross is a grassroots organization. We are with the people at the grassroots. And therefore, when you give us your support, that means you are sure that your support will for sure reach the most disadvantaged population within the local communities where we are living. We hope to see you again back, maybe after 100 days in office, to see what achievements we have been able to make.
The first priority was the response to the humanitarian challenges, because even before the referendum, then the issue of developing a contingency plan and ensuring that the National Society had capacity in terms of trained volunteers and also the materials that would be needed in the event that there was any fighting or there were any casualties of one form or the other, but also then ensuring that in case the National Society then was to separate and there's a formation of a new National Society, that all the basic ingredients for that were also in place. Mostly it was, of course, ensuring then that all the systems that needed to be in place for the support for both the North and the South were in place. For example, in terms of funding, to ensure then that if the separation then happens, of course, then the systems are in place and partners could direct their support to the two national societies. First and foremost, I think credit goes to the National Society itself, because it was clear for them that there were at least one National Society until the 9th of July, and they ensured then that the rest of us as partners working with them were very clear on this line of communication. So they did it in a very professional way. There was a technical committee that was set up that had clear roles and responsibilities. I think key again is to keep focus on what the real mandate of the Red Cross or Red Crescent is, because I think this was a unifying factor to say that, okay, at the end of the day, whether there is separation or not, the focus is service to the most vulnerable people. So having a common goal helps, everything else around it. Secondly, of course, is having an example of what we had, like the technical committee with clear roles and responsibilities, and ensuring then that all the issues that needed to be tackled are clearly laid out, and everybody knew what their role and responsibility was.
Both parts of the society were interested to have a peaceful and smooth transition. This was really good, and in the process we decided also on the priorities which have to be solved until the separation, and also responsibility of the different partners participating in the technical committee. So this was quite well organized. We have to be prepared that there is smooth support of the National Society. The capacity is relatively low, and there is a danger that the National Society is overloaded with projects and programs, and this has to be done very careful. And at the same time, we have also to look that in projects or programs, certain amount is reserved for development of the structure and development of capacity. Sudanese Red Crescent in the north, first of all, their budget is reduced. Yeah? Now it's shared between all the funding, or funding is going to the south, and the funding for the core costs in the north is less. And there are two possibilities: either to reduce activities or to try to improve fundraising. And this is really a big issue for the National Society. They need support in fundraising, and they need a fundraising strategy. Communication and information is closely connected with fundraising. And first, Sudanese staff is not used. They have no experience in fundraising, and second, they are very shy to go to the UN or European community or, for instance, a diplomatic community to discuss with them or to make a presentation. There are good relations with the South, and the branches, they work together. There were regular branch meetings with all the branches, North and South, and they had trainings together. And I think this is a reason they are really also sorry about this separation. So on the one hand, the separation is a pity. On the other hand, it's also a chance to continue between both states to start a good cooperation.
We will continue to give services to the vulnerable, whether in the south or in the east or in the north, wherever people are displaced by war, by drought, by earthquake, by whatever natural disaster, we will always be there. Although the country is now will become independent, still the movement has no borders. My vision is now, although we have now established in the 10 states, we have established offices. Now we will start to move down to the Payams and then to the village level, because our involvement is with the community and we would want to serve the community. The Red Cross has a role now to promote peace, stability, by providing some of these services.